Welcome to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with Rebecca Hall Gruyter. In our program each week, we provide the tools, ideas, and encouragement to help you move ahead on your journey, becoming a more powerful and impactful woman in your own life. Now here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. I'm honored to be connecting in with you today, and I hope that you have enjoyed your February. We have a leap year, so we get one more day of February that we get to enjoy. So I hope that you make the most of it, and we're so honored to get to be part of that with you today. And I know you're going to love my amazing guest today. And she's an expert in helping people find their voice, helping them bring it forward in a powerful way as authors to really own it and bring it forward. And so we're tying this into the theme of love around loving yourself enough to find your voice. Oh, I hope that as you take a moment, connect in, I encourage you to slow down, pause, breathe. I claim this time as yours, an opportunity to be present, to be poured into, to be encouraged and empowered. Be willing to really give yourself this time fully. Be willing to slow down, to choose to be fully present so you can really drink in and receive everything that is here for you. And I know there is something here for you by the very nature of you tuning in. So I invite you to have your paper and pen ready, to be leaning in with a heart that's open, ears to hear, so that you can receive and take in everything that is here for you. And by having that pen ready, you can capture that insight, that something that touched your heart and spirit, so you can start to integrate it. You can start to bring it forward in powerful ways in your lives. It doesn't just become something that flutters by, but something that can really serve and support you. So let's take a moment as we're breathing, as we're slowing down. Breathing in deeply, closing your eyes. You're absolutely safe. Beautiful. As you breathe in, feel that beautiful, loving support and delicious oxygen flood every cell in your body. As you breathe out, you're releasing everything that no longer serves, creating room and space for more. And as you slow down and tune in and listen, I invite you to put both hands on your heart. Take a moment to stop, listen, lean into the beat of your heart. In fact, notice the pause in between the beats. And what is it whispering to you? What is it sharing with you today? What is it that you need to encourage and empower you to treat yourself lovingly, to own your voice, to choose to bring it forward? What do you need that you are open and willing to receive because you have choice? What is it that your heart is whispering to you? Beautiful. Receive that information. Let's take another breath. Eyes open. Beautiful. Coming fully present into the room. Take a moment and write down what was laid on your heart that you need and are willing to receive. And keep that in front of you as we go through our conversation today, and be listening to see what peace, what support comes through in our conversation. What can help you move forward on your journey? Be open to hearing it in an unexpected way to help guide, lead, encourage, and support. Beautiful. With that, we're going to go around our virtual room. And Hannah, welcome. Excited to have you joining us today. And I'd love for you to share what was laid on your heart when you took a moment to stop, pause, and listen.
Beautiful. I was thinking about climbing mountains
Mm.
and what it means to be able to reach the summit for a very long time, and how it's important to stop and appreciate what the time was like. Let go of all of those that came before it, times up to get there, and just with celebrating being able to be top of that beautiful place.
Mm. I love that. I can feel that as you look out and drink in that beautiful view, that you're really seeing and taking it in, how beautiful that is. Thank you for sharing. Very important reminder. Beautiful. I was sitting and feeling and just really grateful for the opportunity to be with each and every one of you. And I hope as we connect, you can feel that connection, that love, that support, that expansion. Because I know when I pause and feel in to connect, always taking a breath before the show, and as we connect, I can feel the connection with each and every one of you. So I feel that love, that connection every single week. And I want to invite each of you to be open to feeling that love from all of us as we connect in together. And I think that can be one of those highs that you pause, drink in, look out, and enjoy, and let it support you and uplift you throughout your day. Well, we are getting ready to go to our first commercial break. And as we do so, I want to invite you to stay in this place. Stay drinking in the beautiful share that Hannah had for us already. Think about what was placed on your heart and spirit, and we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Follow Voice America at Facebook.com/Voice America for juicy updates from your favorite radio shows and podcasts.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Voice America programs are now available on your favorite connected device, including Amazon, Alexa, and Google Home. Through streams with Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio, listening to your favorite show is as easy as saying the show name followed by the word podcast.
Hey, Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast.
If that doesn't work, try adding on TuneIn or on iHeartRadio or on Apple Podcasts.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and just taking an opportunity to be present and really listen to what is being placed on your heart, on your spirit. Sometimes we're moving so quickly And there's so much noise around us, we can miss those beautiful messages from our heart. So I invite you each break, as those commercials are playing with beautiful updates and information we want you to know, choose to really stay present and listen to what is being spoken and received, what is being shared to your heart and your spirit. Beautiful. Well, welcome back. We're talking with the international best-selling author, Hannah Lyon, and I'm excited to introduce her to you. So officially, Hannah Lyon is, as I mentioned, an international best-selling author who's worked in the writing industry for 8 years. She's the mother of a beautiful fantasy trilogy that she has been working on for many, many years. And in this beautiful series, she explores the deep meaning and triumphs and challenges and overcoming and freedom and choices. So much rich informations and just such a rich journey that the readers go on in her series. She is the founder of Castle Lyon Editing, where she helps authors find their voices, polish their powerful manuscripts, and she is absolutely passionate about helping you find your voice, share your story, and shine. Please lean in. Warmly welcome the powerful and dynamic and a creative Hannah Lyon to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was wonderful.
You are very welcome. Excited to have you joining us. And I wanted to start with, why is it important to you in the work that you do in the Castle Lyon editing space? Why is it so important to you to help people find their voice? And I find that as you work with people, not only do they find their voice, but they own their voice and become excited and proud to share. And you're such an important part of that journey. Can you share why that work is important to you?
Yes. To me, it's not only important, but it feels like a vital piece of humanity where we're able to own every piece of our story. And that includes the pieces that are the most difficult, because often underneath all of that is where we're able to find a unique message that somebody else out there in the world desperately needs. And the ability to harness that energy and channel it and use it to transform a story into a powerful tool that can reach readers across the world, across generations. That is a superpower, I think, that we all have. And in order to make the best book, you often need a really good editor. So I love to be able to help people realize the strength that they have through their journey and how they can be able to use that to help others.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I love how vital and important that is, that we can really own all parts of ourselves and be able to bring it forward. And then you're able to help them translate that in some ways to where they really bring their message forward in a way that can be heard and impactful and change people's lives. So I celebrate you and the beautiful work that you do. And I know in creating this trilogy fantasy series that you are bringing to the world, I'm curious, how have you found your voice in leaning into bringing it forward in a fiction series? I'd love to know how those connect for you.
Yes. I have found that storytelling is extremely powerful no matter what genre you're working through. And I have found that I have learned how to be able to face life's challenges, to connect to places of determination and motivation for myself through the world of fantasy. That's just the lens that I tend to see things through. So, and I found out that is something that worked for me when I was younger and has remained a vital tool for me to live my best life as a mother, as a business owner, and as a wife. I have found that there are a lot of other people that feel the same way. And when you're able to be able to look at that and own the fact that, yeah, these pieces of what you're reading and you're writing might not be real, but the themes that you bring back with you, the pieces of those characters that are reflections of the author, are going to be able to work for you in your favor as well. And I think that's a really magical thing.
Beautiful. And you mentioned that the things, the parts of you coming through even and can come through in a fiction series. So I'm curious, in this trilogy, we have book 1, which we'll talk about in a moment, has been shared out into the world. Book 2 is coming out soon. And I'm curious, are there characters or part of different characters that the readers get to know a little bit of you as they read and get to know them?
Yes. Oh, I love that question because one of the most interesting things I've discovered about the most powerful fiction, the most meaningful fiction out there, is that it tends to mirror life. And we can take practical inspiration from those stories, but every character in there is little images of myself. All of the heroes, all of the villains, those are pieces of me that have become part of the story, that are really vulnerable pieces of me that I have been kind of scared over the years to be able to share as an artist. But I feel like those things are all about struggles and triumphs and how we can showcase who we are through a fantasy world for readers who deserve something that's both fantastical and realistic. And that's definitely something that they get to experience in my book.
I love it. I love that combination and how courageous that is to share those parts of you with all of us, and that we get to know you in so many different dimensions and aspects is really a rich experience. And it sounds like, as you shared, even the villains, so all the different characters in the story, that they're aspects of you. Did you find it an empowering process to be able to face and take in some of those as you explored their journey and created their world and are sharing it with all of us?
It was empowering, but it was also very, very scary. So I think there was a balance that needed to exist there. Just because it is cloaked within the magic of another world, because my storytelling is coming through characters and through goddesses and through magic systems and different pieces like that. It's definitely something that feels empowering to be able to share. But at the same time, you are sharing all of your secrets through something that people will be able to pick apart eventually, especially the themes of freedom that are so strong. That is such an important thing to me that is very relevant in my trilogy. So you will see ultimately what matters most to me as a person and the things that my characters fight for.
Beautiful. Well, that leads me to the series. So I would love for you to share, what is the name of your trilogy series and what, just on a big picture, is it about?
Sure. So the trilogy is called the Freedom for Rathos trilogy. And it's really all about fighting for what you believe in. So the kingdom of Rathos is a place where people have a hard time knowing who to trust. The citizens of the kingdom are used to the oppressive rule of their lord, who claims to keep them safe from the blood goddess across the sea. But our kingdom's rebel leader, Will, who likes to offer people the option of choosing their own futures, gives them this option to be able to be free of anyone who would keep them down, including a goddess who could potentially make them slaves. So there's a lot of lies and truths that lie on each side of the storyline, and we kind of delve into that within book 1 of the trilogy called The Rebel and Violet. And we are here today to talk about book 2, where everything gets even more complex, even juicier, which is called Those Strings of Fate.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for giving us an overview of almost a setting that your series takes place in. And your first book was received really, really well. It became an international bestseller. You've had multiple 5-star reviews that have come through, and that's in just a very, very short amount of time. You have it released in multiple formats. I know one of your favorite is the Audible of that book that has been shared out into the world. And I'm curious, as you have that and are getting ready to bring forward book 2, Strings of Fate, just anything that you want to share about that experience of having it received that way, and then what that does for you or feeds into you, or how it impacts you as you're getting ready to bring book 2 forward.
Oh, yes. So the response to my first book has been amazing, mostly because I dreamed my entire life of being able to create a career in the modern world of storytelling. So I've worked really hard to be able to get to the point where my writing could be published in such a beautiful way. So from the amazing cover design to the perfect Audible production, it's been wonderful to see fantasy lovers and readers listening to the beginning of the story. So that being said, it does put some pressure on when it comes to the second book. But honestly, that was something that I wanted, the accountability to follow through for my readers. That's like a fuel for my creativity. And while I'm really proud of how I've established everything in book 1, book 2 is where I really get to take on the task of deepening that story. And I couldn't be happier with how it all turned out.
Thank you for sharing. I love that. And I love that that's become a fuel to support you and bring forward this powerful second book in this series. I've had the opportunity to read an advance copy, and I was swept up in it and found myself unable to put it down as I flipped through the pages and wanted to see what happened next as things built and expanded and complex. And there were different twists and turns that I was taken on the journey. And I know that readers out there, when they have an opportunity to lean into book 2, they're going to have a very, very similar experience. So do you mind sharing a little bit of the focus of book 2? Because we've had a little bit of an overview of book 1. For those who haven't gotten their copy yet, you can absolutely get a copy on Amazon. We'll have Hannah share the best way to get your favorite format. But as we lean into book 2, I'd love for you to share what you're really excited about in this volume that you are bringing to the world.
Yes. So my
Oh, I'm so sorry, Hannah. We're having a technical difficulty hearing you. So I'm going to go to commercial break. So this will be a little bit of a cliffhanger question. When we come back, we'll get to hear Hannah's beautiful answer. And we'll look forward to talking with each of you in just 2 minutes.
Birdie told me Voice America is on X. Follow us at Voice America TRN.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at SpeakerTalentSearch.com. That's SpeakerTalentSearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Voice America programs are now available on your favorite connected device, including Amazon, Alexa, and Google Home. Through streams with Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio, listening to your favorite show is as easy as saying the show name followed by the word podcast.
Hey, Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast.
If that doesn't work, try adding on TuneIn or on iHeartRadio or on Apple Podcasts.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes, and we had a little bit of a cliffhanger right before the break. So I wanted to make sure I really honored letting you have the answer to that question. And so we were talking about Hannah's beautiful book 2 that is coming out here very, very soon. We're going to share a little bit about that in a moment, Strings of Fate. And I was asking her what she was most excited about as the journey in this series steps into book 2. What are some of the things she's really looking forward to the readers discovering as they lean in and get to enjoy volume 2?
Yes. Okay. So my favorite piece about this book is the backstory that we get to experience with a lot of these characters and how they choose to face some unexpected enemies, some complications within the rebel cause, within this fight for freedom. And our heroes are really forced to ask themselves, should we take an easier path that might be more like the monsters who are already ruling over us, versus something more diplomatic, something more full of change, and how you can keep your word to your followers as well as your family members, and making sure that you are not leaving anything hanging unspoken or unmanaged in the balance. So without giving you any spoilers, that is one of my favorite things about this book.
I love it. And so I don't want to give anything away. It is a very exciting book. And you're absolutely right. It does face a lot of those things and choices that people are making as they navigate through those, we can call them opportunities to make choices and stand in different ways. Now, if we step back for a moment and we just look at trilogies as a whole, a lot of times book 2 is the favorite for trilogy readers. And I'd love for you to share a little bit of your experience in that, if that is also what you've seen, experienced, and what you're excited about from that perspective that people will find in this book. And why do they find that the most fascinating, the book 2?
I do think that's very interesting, and I hear that all the time from fantasy fans, all the way back to classic trilogies like The Lord of the Rings and the original Star Wars films. It's all about the mess in the middle that I think we like the most, because it's not the start of the story, and it's not the end either. So you've already immersed yourself in the world, but you're also not about to leave it. So it's very fascinating for us to see if the characters you started to like, continue to be the ones that you like. Do those characters stay people that you want to see succeed, or do they stumble and fall? So I think one thing that readers love as well about the middle of trilogies is there's lots of surprises that you don't expect. And you might see the characters you love fall. You might see those you didn't care for, maybe antagonists even, become relatable or understandable characters. And those are some really fun prospects that often happen in the middle.
I love that. And as you were creating this, did you find that all those layers, in a sense, that are coming together and the continuation of current characters from book one and new characters being introduced, did you find it more challenging, more fun, more just a deepening? I'd love your experience in creating book two.
Yes. So there were some easy things and there were some hard things about this writing. Of course, because it's the most recent writing that I've done. It's also been the hardest, the biggest challenge that I've taken on. But there's a lot of joy in the backstory that I get to share with people, as far as, where do these characters you've just gotten to know, where do they come from? What were their childhoods like, or what heartache did they experience in their past that turned them into who they are? How can they lose trust or be able to open up again? Those are a lot of the questions that go through my mind when I'm trying to create a really dynamic and realistic set of characters and places for me to be able to share with people. And on the other hand, the hardest part has been breaking down a lot of those characters in this second book in the series. So some of my heroes do face the dark night of the soul for them in this book, and that's not an easy thing to do because, as I mentioned, they are a part of me. So I heal through my writing like a lot of artists do, and we want to see how we're able to face and overcome those painful pieces of ourselves. So it's difficult, but it's also a very necessary part of the journey.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. I think any author out there is going to relate and appreciate that, and kind of that healing journey that you get to go on in facing parts of yourself and those dark nights of the soul that can be so challenging, that when we come through on the other side, it can be such a empowering type of experience, but it's very hard when you're in the middle of it. And I want to thank you for being courageous and willing to do that, to birth such a powerful book and being willing to bring it forward. Now, I want to let people know, when is it coming forward? So can we give the full title, the date, so that people can mark that on their calendar?
Yes. So The Strings of Fate, Book 2 in the Freedom for Wraithos series, will be out on March 19th.
Perfect. So March 19th. Is there anything special about it coming out on that day that listeners should be aware of?
Well, the number 19 is my lucky number. It's always been a very fateful, destiny-entwined number for me. So any chance I have to do something special on the 19th of the month, I'd love to be able to do that.
I love it. Beautiful. So March 19th, a special and magical day for Hannah. The book will be coming out. I love that. We get to celebrate that day with you. And the book will also be available for $1.99 for the first 24 to 48 hours. So it's great for those of you who want to lean in, get a copy, share it out. That book will be available on that day, and we're going to be helping to promote and share it out as well. So you can watch in social media as we do so. But make sure to put that on your calendar. I don't want anyone to say, oh, I wish I would have known and I missed it. I want you to lean in and be able to take advantage and add this powerful book. You will be captivated in such a intriguing way as you lean into book 2 in this amazing series. And it looks like we have a caller on the line. And so, Hannah, are you ready for a comment or a question?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so Janet, welcome. Excited to have you joining us today.
Thank you.
So Janet, welcome. I would love for you to share. You called in, it looks like, with a question, so we'd love to hear it.
Yes, well, as a writer, Hannah, you said that your characters are all a part of you. And so how do you manage that with your your antagonists, your villain? Well, your villains, I guess, but your antagonists. How does that come out of you, and how do you manage that?
Well, Janet, I do have a wonderful therapist. She helps me greatly through some of those pieces. I think what I love to showcase through my antagonist in my story is how we all have faults and pieces of ourselves we might not be very proud of. And yet there is always hope of a way that you can turn that around. You don't have to stay the villain. You don't have to stay the pieces that are harmful to you or the people around you. And being able to channel that into a character and help me transcend some of my own faults, my own struggles, some of the darkest things that I've faced, that has been a beautiful form of magic that has happened in my writing.
Well,
wonderful. Oh, go ahead, Janet.
I think that in the Rebel and Violet, I really like how your character's not all black, and that the good guys are not all white. You know what I mean? I like that there is a balance there, and that makes them more realistic. Not human, more realistic to the reader, and keeps the reader engaged. At least it did for me. So thank you for that.
Oh, beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you, Janet.
Well, Janet, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. And Janet, as an author, I love your question and your perspective that you're coming from, just really, really rich. So thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Wonderful. So I love that, too, that your characters are complex. Yeah, there's a lot of different layers to them. No one's all one way or another, that they have a richness in them. And thank you for answering that question about how do you hold that? How do you process all of that? So we're excited. We have book number 2 coming out March 19th. And I know it will be eventually released in multiple formats as well, that all those pieces are in the works, which is really exciting to see and be looking forward to leaning into. One of the things we talked about when we had you on to share about book 1 was the cover, because I know you put a lot of thought and care into the cover and the design of it and the feel of it. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about the cover so our listeners can not only have the March 19th date on their calendar, but have a visual of what they're looking for.
Oh, yes. So I don't know about your listeners or the readers that you know, Rebecca, but I know people who collect their physical books love to make sure they're beautiful. So one of my favorite things about series is what those books tend to look like when you line them up on a shelf together. And if they all match or they all kind of continue something between all 3 of them or more. So one of the biggest themes of my trilogy is how the color violet stands for the cause for freedom. And there are a lot of shows of rebel violets on all of my heroes. And so I have this gorgeous violet ribbon that goes across the first book's cover. And I wanted to continue that banner and have that flow from one book to the next to the next. So that's this really beautiful thing that you hardcover and softcover people get to look forward to, is how there is going to be this continual piece that links all of the books together.
Beautiful. I love that. And the front of the cover, so we'll look for the violet ribbon, and I'm visualizing them on the shelf, standing next to each other, which is beautiful. What are some of the elements on the front cover that we can also look for?
Well, as opposed to the Rebel and Violet, where we have some themes of fire and a lot of red and orange and gold themes, there's a very smoky blue, watery theme that comes along with the Strings of Fate. And you see a very ominous stone statue of somebody that you'll have to read the book to figure out exactly who she is. So there's a contrast from one book to the second, and yet there's still that continual show of violets that's there as well.
I love it. Beautiful. So we will be leaning in and looking for that on March 19th and beyond. And do you have a hope, something in your heart that as book 2 comes forward and is shared out in the world and people start to read it and fall in love with your new characters and follow all of them on the journey, is there a takeaway that you hope your readers claim for themselves as they read book 2?
I would say, Rebecca, that this book is all about making mistakes. And this illusion of control that we sometimes think we have over our lives, because our faith can be shattered and hard truths can be revealed. And those choices you make after reality has brought them to the surface can make you a hero or a villain. So those themes really come from reality, and they're very present in this second book in my trilogy.
Thank you for sharing. And that people know that they can make choices, they can rise again, no matter what, which is a very hopeful and empowering message to be able to share with all of our listeners and readers. Beautiful. Well, as you're leaning in and the book is being released just around the corner, anything on your heart and spirit that you wanted to share today to our listeners, either about your book or as you're leaning in, something that's just laid into your heart?
I would love for everyone to own that power of their story that we kind of started talking about today, Rebecca, just because you don't have to be a writer to accomplish it. You can channel who you are and what you've experienced through any kind of artistic medium. And once you start that process, it's healing, it's validating, and it can open doors for you in the world that you couldn't have imagined otherwise. So really take a moment to embrace what it is to love your journey, to share your journey, and to see how it can really uplift yourself and everybody around you. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you, Hannah. That is beautiful. Do you have a tip that you can give us for those who are leaning in and saying, I want that, yes, but they're not quite sure where to start?
Definitely start by thinking who you would want to create something for. If you can picture the one person out there who needs your message, who could benefit from your story, whose life you could enrich that couldn't happen if you chose to stay silent, you can picture that person and the things that could happen if you were able to connect with them through a book that you wrote, through a painting, through a sculpture, whatever it might be. That can be a beautiful drive, a beautiful motivation to make sure that you're creating something of value that goes out there. And you don't put it down. You keep trying and you finish it and you share it. And that can help you get started and definitely get you to the finish line too.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Anna. I appreciate your heart, your spirit in this, and your great tips and wisdom to really share and encourage all of our listeners out there. I appreciate it. And the importance to really finding your voice and finding a way to bring it forward, because it absolutely matters. We are getting ready to go to our next commercial break. And as we do, listeners, I want you to think about what Hannah shared. Breathe it in deeply and let it sit in your heart and take a moment to respond to it. And we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Voice America is on your favorite smart speaker. If you have Alexa or Google Home, go ahead and give us a try.
Hey, Alexa, play Finding Your Frequency podcast on TuneIn.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
You need to live up to your full potential. You've heard that for years, but now there's a channel to help you get there. Introducing the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Our listeners have told us that they want to be motivated, hear about success stories, and positive encouragement around the clock. And we've responded to you. The Voice America Empowerment Channel is the home of the world's top life coaches, entrepreneurs, and success experts. Listen to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. It's here at voiceamericaempowerment.com.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
Find out what makes the most successful people tick. Keep listening to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. voiceamericaempowerment.com.
You're listening to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives with your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. If you have a question or comment for Rebecca or her guest, we'd love to hear from you. Please call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. You may also send an email to Rebecca at yourpurposedrivenpractice.com. Now back to Empowering Women, Transforming Lives.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed those 2 minutes and had an opportunity to really sink into that wisdom and insight. So the wish, the desire that Hannah had for each and every one of you, and that great tip or several tips to actually help you get there and take it all the way to the finish line. Now, I want to encourage you to look back at your notes at how we started our conversation today. What was laid on your heart that you need, that you're willing to receive? Take a moment to think through, feel into the wisdom, the information, the shares that have come through today, the perspective, and see how that is supporting you, bringing you forward. In fact, I encourage you at the end of the show, don't just rush back into the day. That can be our tendency. Take a moment to stop, pause, really drink in all that serves. And as a result of that, choose how you are going to be. Choose how you're stepping forward. Be mindful of what you're saying yes to, what you're saying no to, and look to see how can you love yourself a little bit more? How can you own your voice, your message, who you are a little bit more, and how can you share that with others? Bring your creativity in it, bring joy, bring fun. And I also, one of the things I'm reflecting on, Hannah, as I reflect on some of what you shared today, that really be willing to face some of those parts of ourselves that we can be a little squiggly or uncomfortable with or are harder for us to face, but to be able to lean in and embrace those too, to go through them and realize we can rise again. The way it is now, we get to choose how the story continues. And I think that's a beautiful and important reminder for all of us, wherever we are in our journey. I'm very excited about your book coming out, Book 2, Strings of Fate, on March 19th. I keep saying the date because I want everybody to remember the date, mark it on their calendar, and take advantage of that special rate for those of you who love Kindle and to share it out. The other formats will be coming out a few weeks after, but right now we're excited about the Kindle version that is coming out, the digital version, on March 19th. And I wanted to give the opportunity for our listeners to be able to connect with you, Hannah, go deeper, both around your beautiful ways that you work with authors, as well as being able to get on your list to be notified of different books and things coming forward in your Powerful series. So with that, Hannah, what is the best way for us to connect?
Well, depending on what you'd like to talk about, there are 2 different ways we can do that. And
Perfect.
If you are a writer or a speaker or a leader out there who wants to get their book ready to share in the strongest way possible, you can learn all about me and the editing services I offer at castlelyonediting.com. And if you'd like to learn all about my fantasy trilogy we've been chatting about today, you can find me at freedomforrathos.com. And that is RHETHOS. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Lady Lyon 19.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Hannah. I appreciate it. Listeners, I hope you wrote down that contact information. The replay will be available if you need it repeated again so that you can make sure to reach out and connect with Hannah. I encourage you to do that. I know that you will enjoy connecting the conversation and learning all about the different ways she is supporting people and helping them own their message and bring it forward in powerful ways. So with that, Hannah, a final thought or encouragement to share with our listeners?
I would say to embrace your inner rebel, to question everything, to fight for the life that you feel you deserve. And that is ultimately the message I love to leave all of my readers with.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Hannah. I appreciate it. Listeners, I hope you have a page full of notes and your heart and spirit have been encouraged and you are intrigued and leaning into March 19th and this powerful and freedom-filled with triumphs and challenges and growth and lots of twists and turns that will keep you captivated in this amazing series. So I hope that you lean in and to book 1, and if you haven't started it, and book 2, I know you will enjoy the journey. And as you go back into the day, I want you to remember that you are beautifully, wonderfully made, perfect in your imperfections, absolutely needed just as you are for such a time as this. The biggest gift you can give the world is more of you. So be willing to lean in, be willing to discover more of who you are, be willing to share that amazing gift of who you are just a little bit more. That's how we create the ripple. That's how we can make a difference in the world, heart by heart, life by life. So make the choice to bloom where you're planted and shine. Have an amazing week, everyone, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for joining us this week for Empowering Women, Transforming Lives. Please tune in again for another edition with your host, Rebecca Hall-Gruyter, next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel, with a replay on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific on the Voice America Variety Channel. Have a beautiful week, and may you always bloom where you're planted and shine.